Hi, and welcome to Crazed Authors Explanation Thursdays. This is a series explaining events that happen in my comic book series, Chronicles of Veritas, and later down the line, other comic books I will soon publish. Enjoy! Today, I'm going to explain the species ranking system in the Chronicles of Veritas. In the first book, you're only really given two species to deal with: gods and humans. But there's a lot more to it than that, as gods are mortal beings as humans are in this book series. So, the easiest way to explain this: as it is a ranking system, there is one category that I will have to go into deep depth for. Hopefully I can cover it all in this video. The first species is Eldens. They are the elder gods, the oldest living, non-reincarnated creatures in existence. That is what Lucy, and later on, a few other snake or more refined dragon forms you will see in the later comics. Then we have Guerriers, young gods, non-reincarnations. Youngest, oldest living pure magic beings that are not reincarnated. That is what Tempest, the first actual butting heads character in the first book with Rumtree, is. Then we have Reincarnates, gods that had died and were reborn more times than not into a human family. Oftentimes, a god will choose to be reborn as a reincarnate or as a Gravonian. I will touch on Gravonians in just a second. Reincarnates mostly make up the god bloodline population on the planet in this universe, purely because almost every single living Elden and Guerrier had died. And most of them had died before they got the choice of choosing between giving their power to another living creature or being reincarnated. Luckily, the god that died that soon later became Rumtree had chosen to be reincarnated, which will make some things easier for him later on in the book. But now let's continue. And finally, we are on Gravonians. Now here is the longest, shortest explanation for them. Gravonians are humans, and sometimes animals, who get tasked or cursed with the job of a god. And this is where the ranking system comes into play. When a god dies, they have the choice of becoming a reincarnate or giving their power to make a Gravonian. And sometimes a god will die and not be able to make the choice, so the other gods will have to make it for them. So there is type A. They fail the task and end up a horrific mess of a monster, much like Cthulhu, an Eldritch being. Not many of type A will be shown in the comics, but you will see a few, many in the background. Type B. They were able to keep up with the job, but is now stuck as the in-between form of a god and a dragon. You will see one of these in the second book, and you will be able to tell them apart really fast due to how they look. Type C, a beacon if you will, a subspecies that evolved off the Gravonians. They had earned the title and DNA of a god, and their blood is effectively all gold or silver. And they can move in and out of forms as they please, just as if they were born a god. Type D, chaotic neutral with little to no power besides physical strength. The most that a type D will have are small physical attributes like feathers, their skin being slightly way off the normal skin tone, like blue, purple. And as well, their pupils may show up if no physical attributes were included. Their pupils may be slanted or slitted like a demi or a reincarnate or a god in a human form. Then a subspecies that actually evolved into its own species but can only happen if they had become Gravonian is a Passalonist, a new god that still owns and holds the views they had before they had been given the powers before, and still remembers who they were before. Many times when a Gravonian is granted powers or cursed with powers, they forget who they were before slowly over time. A Passalonist will continue to hold their memories and, over time, become a new kind of being. Oftentimes, like gods and reincarnates and other magical beings in this universe, they can die. But many Passalonists, after figuring out that they do not have to stick with the job that they had been tasked with if they had completed it so many times or perfected it where they never have to do it again, they can make their own title in the Gold Book. There's a reason why I will keep repeating for this Gold Book, but that will be touched on in another video. Now that we covered all the magical being races in the series, we shall now cover the non-magical. When they have not been granted / cursed with being a Gravonian, it's humans, then animals. And with how Gravonians work, oftentimes a human or an animal can rise the ranks of how powerful a species or race is. And that's the crazed explanation for today's Thursday. I love you all, and now let's move on. I would like to shout out my 2 Ko-Fi members, Midnight Aslos, and the other Ko-Fi member is Striker Cosplays, another really great YouTuber. And I would also like to personally shout out one of my most avid fans on my YouTube and greatest person in my Discord server, Xavi Animates. I would like you to read the description of the video and check out the links down below. It will lead you to my Linktree, which has all my socials and also some of my music listed. I will also have a direct link in the YouTube video if you don't want to go through the Linktree, the link to buying my book. Anyway, have a lovely day. I love you all.